What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the CRWN Cinema Podcast. In this episode, we literally just watched Reign of Fire. And before we get into the episode, I just want to say, today, as this episode airs, marks the year anniversary of us posting the show. Since the day we started, I had a random thought, going to sleep, texted you our podcast idea, and from that day on, we never missed a week. 52 in a row. We did it.
Congratulations, guys.
Thank you. And what a better movie than Reign of Fire.
Yeah. This one, my mic's kind of cutting out. This one definitely came into my mind just because, I feel like this is where it kind of started. I just remember watching this.
Super hungover.
One could say still feeling the alcohol a little bit. I might have been on a little bit of a bender there, a little bit of a tear. But yeah, I just remember we were in a dark room, we were watching the movie. I did kind of doze off for it, but I did see the ending, epic. And, I think we just talked about the movie. And then I just remember one day you told me because we watched a lot of movies after that.
Yeah. Something you always did was...
We were just watching movies.
Yeah, always watching
movies. And
we'd
talk about it. And then you told me I don't know, we could do this podcast thing. And I was like, yeah, we already do it.
Yeah, it happened one night when I was falling asleep and I had a thought about a podcast idea where we would watch the movie, and then the whole catchphrase I had was we just watched. I thought the podcast would be called We Just Watched. Then we came up with CRWN.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're here. But literally just one.
Just rolling.
I rolled over in bed, typed something on my notes before I went to bed so I didn't forget the idea, and then I texted you the next day. And then look at us now. So in celebration, let's drink fire like McConaughey drank fire in preparation for this movie.
Yeah, that was the other thing, is we read Green Lights, and we kind of connected on that. And I never watched the movie, prior to it.
Oh, that's what this was here for. I thought y'all had left it from a previous episode. I was like, damn it.
No, so Matthew describes in his book Green Lights, which me and Kade are big fans of, that whenever he got this role, he shaved his head in preparation for it, on top of the fact that he says he was losing his hair. And he said to get into character, he would wake up at sunrise, and he would
he'd wake up at sunrise,
he'd sit on the rooftop of wherever he was staying.
Well, no, so first he said to start his morning, because he's going to be a dragon slayer, in order to prepare for his role,
get in
he would
character.
breathe fire. So he would take a shot of tequila. We're first thing in the morning. He said that lasted 7 days because he would just start puking. He was scared of heights, so in order to be a dragon slayer, you can't be scared of heights.
Yeah.
So he'd climb his barn and walk to the edge and try to get as close, but he said he never got more than 6 feet away from the edge.
Yeah.
He would go on a barefoot mild run through the desert because he thought that'd be badass. He said that lasted 3 days because his feet were tore up, blistered. So his plan didn't go very well. But you know what? Our plan went pretty well.
Yeah.
We're still going. We've done episodes. We've made it work and done episodes as late as 2 a.m., wrapping them up, and we've done them as early as 7 a.m.
Yeah.
No matter what it took, we got it done.
We had to make sure. Yeah.
So
shout out to, I guess, we kind of have a little fan base going, especially in the YouTube community.
YouTube's
Yeah,
decent.
shout out to our fans, but more importantly...
I bet by the time this airs, we have 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
We're close.
Yeah. But yeah, shout out to our fans, but more importantly, shout out to our haters.
Love the hate comments. They're really fun to respond to.
Yeah. Give us a good laugh.
Cheers to 1 year, and cheers to many more.
I'm going to sip on.
We say breathe fire, but it's not brutal. I wish I would have got a water. I have a bourbon to chase it.
Ooh.
Never been the biggest shot guy.
You could have sipped on it.
Oh, I didn't finish that shit.
It's okay.
But he was right. What was that?
1942.
It is good.
Shout out to my Uncle Jaime for the 1942.
Uncle Jaime.
He's a listener.
Yeah, this will be
sometimes.
This should be fun.
He's a aspiring guest.
Yes.
Yeah, we have a few of those.
Yeah, we do have a few of those. All right, Reign of Fire.
Reign of Fire.
It's not that awesome of a movie, but it is just so incredibly badass. If you just watch it and could just take your brain off and enjoy McConaughey's pure badassery, this movie is fucking awesome.
Badassery. I like it. Yeah, no, I mean, it is just kind of weird to think because obviously Matthew McConaughey was like still starting off his career, so he wasn't like, he definitely wasn't A-list by this point.
Yeah, he was trying to venture off from his rom-com
from the
era.
rom-coms, yeah. It was pretty cool because he started in, what was his breakout role? He plays the lawyer in...
Lincoln
No,
Lawyer?
his breakout
Not
role
Lincoln Lawyer.
was
He's the
Dazed
attorney.
and Confused was his breakout
No,
role.
but like the one that like made him famous is he plays like the lawyer for...
that first one, I can't remember what the name of it was. It's not Lincoln Lawyer. It's like whenever he's really, really young.
A Time to Kill.
A Time to Kill.
With Sandra Bullock.
That was a loaded cast. Samuel L. Jackson as well. And then like his mentor was the guy from, trying to think, the Katniss Everdeen movies, Hunger Games.
Which one?
He played President Snow.
Oh,
And that was like his mentor in that movie.
okay.
Donald Sutherland.
Oh, yeah.
Kevin Spacey.
24, right?
Yeah, 24.
Kiefer. Oh, Donald, you said? Kiefer Sutherland's the other guy.
Yeah. So he started out in that movie, and then this was like, he talks about it in the book. Like, I don't know how well it did, like in the box office or anything like that. I don't know. But the other thing, I don't know if Christian Bale was kind of
I don't know.
a
Christian-
huge celebrity at this point either.
The thing about
He
this
had
movie,
already done American Psycho.
Right.
the thing about this movie is that it's kind of a silly idea for a story, and it's not that great of a script. But because McConaughey and Christian Bale are such good actors, it's such an enjoyable movie to watch. Because there's some lines where you're kind of like, oh, that kind of sucks. Like, that wasn't very well written. Like, that isn't really believable. But the way they perform it, you can't deny that it's pretty solid.
Yeah.
It's a pretty interesting concept for like a society rebuilding because it's still like a medieval type of thing. Like whenever they start rebuilding, which I guess shows us that society may like go back to that medieval era.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like we were joking the entire time, but it is kind of like Fallout, you know,
Yeah.
like after
the Fallout TV show.
Yeah, whenever
Yeah.
like something happens, something catastrophic happens, how does humanity rebuild itself? It's just interesting that it's like a medieval type of creature, but it's still, we're still led to believe that this happened in modern times, that the world burns down and then it rebuilds, but it still has this like medieval tone to it.
Just the roughest of the rough people survive.
Yeah,
these
it's
things.
like they're in a castle and they look like they're from Game of Thrones, but then a helicopter comes in.
Yeah.
You know, it's like different
Futuristic
type of.
apocalypse mixed with medieval times. Like it's a cool concept. Oh, well, I guess it's as badass of a concept as you could possibly come up with.
Yeah, 100%.
Just mixing everything that you possibly could to just make this film. So
What do you think about it, Scott? What's your first impressions of it?
Love the concept. I think it's very of its time, like the early 2000s, with like the muted color palette and the camera work.
You think it was corny?
I don't think it was corny.
Really?
No, I think it's very of its time.
yeah, soundtrack, just like
Basically.
kind of
Yeah.
Yeah, in the credits,
Yeah.
screams
Yeah.
2000.
Yes.
yeah.
It's
I mean,
good though.
The CGI wasn't bad.
No,
CGI was not that
you
bad.
can tell it's CGI, but it's not like it's super shitty.
Yeah.
Like you can tell it's there, but it's not like, oh, that looks terrible. You're like, actually, that looks good for the time and probably the budget.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the dragons weren't bad.
No, I'm just thinking because right now I'm rewatching Game of Thrones. I don't know how it happened. It all happened so fast, but I'm already on season 7. And
Oh shit!
yeah, dude.
You started this like not that long ago.
Like
What
2
number
weeks ago.
rewatch is this?
You can
This
tell.
is like I think it's like my 4th one.
You
I've
can
watched
you can
it
tell
4
you're
times
unemployed.
through.
4
Yeah,
times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one was my last one that I was like, okay, I can like not watch this for a few years.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, you know, especially in like the season 3, like the dragons, like compared to this, like it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
it's
it's not bad.
decently shot. Yeah.
Okay.
They did a
Did-
good job at like whenever the dragons were like looking from their perspective, it's like heat signature.
Mm-hmm.
Like that didn't look too cheesy. What year did this come out, Scott?
2002.
Oh, okay. Yeah. For 2002.
Not
I mean,
bad. Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
it looked really good.
All right. What do you rate it out of 10?
I'm going to have to give it like a 6.
Boo.
6.3. Just because, I mean, is it enjoyable? It gets a little boring sometimes, like whenever, you know.
It does get a little boring.
Unless the dragons aren't in it, it's kind of boring.
I'm like, hey, get off your phone. Get off your phone.
Yeah.
I'm like, actually, I was kind of dozing off too.
And
there
it
for a
wasn't
second.
like a long movie. It was only like an hour 40. And I
Yeah.
kept on being like, okay, when is this going to end type of thing. You know, so it wasn't enjoyable enough to keep my attention.
Up to the 40-minute mark, it's awesome. And then it kind of drags. And then it's the last battle, and that's fun. There's like a solid 30-minute chunk in there that's just kind of like really boring.
I feel like they had them almost like lose too many times. You know, like the dragons were, because I get that you have to have them lose at some point to like almost like ignite that fire in Christian Bale, because he was so like wanting to play it safe for the community.
Yeah, he's super scarcity mindset. Just like we gotta preserve.
So I get that you have to have something happen to ignite that action in him as a leader, but at the same time, like I felt like it just dragged on for too long.
Yeah, I agree. But I did enjoy it. Gray?
Yeah.
Don't let me down.
I'm about to. Just because, I mean, I'm kind of going off what she said. First off, I do enjoy this movie for the fact that, like, you know, it's a pretty basic plot. Like, obviously, I love the concept of it, which kind of bumps up the points.
Yeah, there's some plot holes. There's some things that don't really make sense.
Yeah, well, I enjoy the actors. You know, I'm a big Christian Bale, Matthew McConaughey fan. Like, and then, you know, reading Greenlight and like kind of just getting a little backstory into how Matthew McConaughey like went into portraying that character. Like that does add into like kind of the hype behind it. But kind of what Mercedes is talking about, like they are losing like so much, and Christian Bale's character, Quinn Abercrombie,
super badass.
Like Scott said, definitely like of its age, of its time. But no, like they're losing so much, and he's like trying to outlast the dragons, which realistically is like just impossible.
Yeah, you don't even know how long those motherfuckers live.
But then you just get the cop out halfway through that all you have to do is actually just kill the one male dragon,
right?
And then like you just magically win. And that male dragon out of millions of dragons, because they do mention that at the beginning, like there are millions of dragons that are out there. And Christian Bale like knows exactly where the one male dragon, and it never left.
Well, he woke up with it. He woke it up. Sorry.
Right, but it's
as
like
a kid.
It's the one male dragon on the planet, and it never left its little weird like home in London. Just doesn't seem very dragon-like.
Maybe it is dragon-like. You don't know how they work.
Yeah, maybe that's its like home base, and that's what it goes back to.
Maybe.
You gotta let the story tell you how the science works. You can't be making up your own shit.
I'm just
the dragon would have went to the other end of the earth if it was real.
Yeah,
you can't be saying that shit.
Yes, but it is a little bit of a cop out though. I think we can all agree that like.
But at the same time, I can't tell if that like adds another layer to it, or if it's more frustrating that even though they killed the male dragon at the end, which is the objective, it would probably take a while for all of the dragons to die out.
Yes, but
like,
they are they're eating each other too, like kind of towards the end of it.
Exactly. So. But so it's almost like, does that like add to it that's like, okay, well now, because they end with that line that, what did they say? Evolution?
They just said,
here's to evolution or something.
I don't even know what that even means.
Yeah. So it's almost like they're like looking towards like rebuilding humanity.
It's just kind of funny. Here's the evolution. Yeah. Like what?
Thank God for evolution.
That's what I said. Yeah. Thank God for evolution.
Thank
God for Denton Van Zant.
So I'll give this movie 6.2.
Okay, you didn't let me down. If you went below 5, I would have been pretty upset.
No, it's nice. Like you don't have to put much thought into this movie. You can it's a great hangover movie, I'd say.
Yeah, look, I know it's not a great movie. I'm not expecting anybody to give it like a fucking high score, but
like
below a 5, you're like, come on.
There's some good lines, and it is good acting, so there's something to be said for that.
Yeah, Scott.
7. Love the concept.
I was expecting a 10.
Not my style.
Honestly, I thought I was gonna go 8.
Not my style, because I always do 8.
Yeah, 8's like your low end of the scores.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna give it a 7.7 because I really do enjoy it, but it's not a great movie. Nothing really spectacular about it. besides McConaughey. It's really only McConaughey's badassery that I like. It's him. I think my favorite scene, what made this movie for me, is when he rolls up to the camp for the first time. He's got his little cigar out of his mouth. He's screaming, "Who's the leader?" They all come. They rush out. Oh my god! Who is this guy? And then he's like talking to him. And then as you've seen, the dragons prior have just wiped out everything. The humans stand 0 chance against a dragon. McConaughey pulls out a dragon tooth. Like, no way. You did not kill a dragon.
That's plastic.
Tells him a badass story about it. Like, whatever. Quinn kind of believes him. And then when they get back to the base, Quinn's talking to his right-hand man. I don't know his name. Gerard Butler's character.
Greedy?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And he's like, no way, Quinn. Like, he didn't kill a dragon. That's impossible. Like, we can't even get in the sky. Helicopter pulls up. They're like, oh shit, he's not joking. He flew from America to Europe.
Yeah, because he's hunting the male dragon.
Exactly.
It's in London, yeah.
But that's just the lead up to it, watching the dragons be just an unstoppable force, and then that McConaughey just brought this entire troop from the United States over the sea to London to fight a dragon, and he has a dragon tooth. You're like, damn, this dude's cold.
Just got you going.
Got me going.
Yeah, I would say that this movie as a whole is not like a bad movie because there's like layers to it. Like him being the one to awaken the dragon, and then I don't know, I was going to say this at the end whenever he's like fighting the last male dragon, it almost like shows like recognition in its face because it sees him and then it kind of pauses.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Because it sprayed him as a child.
Yeah.
Whenever it first awakened.
That's why, he said a chemist told him that the dragon had 2 glands. One that was another chemical. One was the other chemical to set it on fire.
Yeah.
But I think he also knew that because he had one of the chemicals sprayed on him.
Yes.
Because the dragon probably just woke up, didn't have full control over itself and just kind of sprayed one instead of the both.
Yeah.
He didn't squirt both on him, just the one.
And I felt like that last scene was the only time that we saw like the chemical get released and then the fire like catch it. Like we were close enough to the dragon to actually see that happen. Before it just looks like it's breathing fire out of its mouth.
Mm-hmm. I remember like the first attack whenever they're trying to get the tomatoes and like it would spray it on the tank and then it would burn.
Oh,
like they showed it, or at least I caught it like a few times.
Okay.
But I do like that there was like, what is she saying? Like a better like scientific explanation for why dragons would not actually just be able to breathe fire, but like,
yeah,
it requires like
biology.
Yeah, a little bit more than that.
Not just magic.
I also like the history that they like immediately, once the dragons like came out, it was like, okay, like these clearly killed the dinosaurs.
yeah. Like let's just tell you how history went, boys.
They came out of the ground. They were like, okay, we got it. Like
that's how the dinosaurs died.
And then like explaining like the ice age and everything. I was like, oh, everything's like,
it makes sense.
Yeah, all the BS like scientific theories like that people are arguing about, like all out the window.
All
like,
point back to dragons.
This clearly is what happened.
And it's funny because like the dragon history and all the dragon kind of stuff, they give you like scientific explanations for stuff, but there's still like plot holes that don't really make sense. Like why is there only one male dragon? And does a male dragon, when he fertilizes the eggs, do other males not get born?
Yeah, or does he kill the male dragons? And if so, why does he do that?
And there's no way he can possibly kill all of the male dragons because some would probably escape.
Yeah.
And then if that's the case where they're in their, that species doesn't produce more than one male, what happens when the male dies? How is there another male? Also, when he got woken up, how the hell did he fertilize egg? Where were the female? How did he grow? Like, was it just like egg stored? I guess it was an egg stored.
Yeah.
In the beginning. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I just think like in Dragon World, like that was best case scenario for the male one. He was like, I was just thinking like, if I were the last man on the planet and like all of a sudden you have like 1,000 girls and it's like, oh no, like this is all we have. Like
you have to repopulate.
Yeah, like, oh man, it's up to me. Oh,
damn.
Yeah, that's what
I guess I'll do it.
Yeah, that's what the male dragon's thinking. He's like, okay, like got to make sure that no other males like fuck this up for me.
Yeah.
I wonder what sent them into hibernation or whatever.
Did
like
they say
sleep
that?
the first time?
Did they say that in like the beginning lecture they gave us, the slideshow presentation?
I would have assumed like maybe like the Ice Age.
Maybe. Yeah.
Like they burned everything so much that like it created the Ice Age, and then there was just nothing really left to burn.
Yeah. Then I would think that there's probably like eggs out there somewhere.
Yeah, but then again, I'm just yapping.
We can give it up to the Ice Age.
Yeah, but so McConaughey and Christian Bale's acting, phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
Another part of the movie that I really enjoyed that really shows McConaughey's acting ability and kind of sells this movie for me is when they killed the first dragon in the movie, and then they're all celebrating. And McConaughey pulls up with his team, and he yells at him. He's like, what are y'all celebrating for? There's millions of dragons left, and I just lost all of my men, or 3 of his men. And y'all are out here cheering. He's like, we haven't won anything. We've made slightly a dent, and y'all are out here celebrating like we just, took over the world. And in his acting in that scene, his eye, he's like tearing up. He's so emotional about it because he's so tied to his cause and his people. You just see McConaughey's acting, really take hold in that scene where he's just, tearing up, crying, yelling at him. Y'all are disgusting to me. It's like, damn.
Yeah. He never sheds that tear though.
No, that's what's cool.
All of he's like welling up in all these scenes, but he never once like drops one tear.
That's what I love. He's in these scenes, you can feel it because he's just like welling up his tears, but he's a badass dude, so he's holding it back. He's got a shaved head, he's bald, got a beard, he's got a chewed cigar in his mouth. He's a badass.
No, I like to think he had just thrown up that Don Julio shot that he took, and then immediately he was like, get the cameras rolling.
He might have. You think? Because obviously we saw
be some tricks.
Because you watch the movie Babylon and Margot Robbie can like cry on demand. If that's true, the character could cry on demand. But some actors, they can't do that. So they have to like put shit in their eye.
Yeah.
So do you think McConaughey is well enough to be able to just like bring tears to his eyes on command?
I don't know. I mean, he's still pretty like early on in his career at this point.
I feel like if you reach that,
and I think he made it kind of clear, like in his book, like at this point he really wasn't taking acting lessons. Like he didn't have a coach by any means. Like he just took characters that he thought he could already naturally do.
That's right.
So when he read, for this part, he was like, okay, American, yeah, I could do that. Green light.
Green light.
And then he's like, oh, dragons, green light. And then, okay, all right, he's got this flask. Oh, yeah, got mine right here, green light. And then like, all right. And so I think at that point in his career, because even in A Time to Kill, like the reason that he like got the part was because he like delivered the final monologue to the director, and he did it kind of just like trying to act. And then the director said, okay, now imagine it's your daughter that like was raped, and like, he laid out like how terrible the situation was and all this. And
imagine your daughter got raped.
Yeah.
You think they said that to him?
Well, that's what he says in the book. Because that's what he's defending like in the movie. It's like Samuel L. Jackson's daughter got raped, so then he killed the killer. Or killed the rapist.
Okay.
Like in cold blood. And so like that's why Matthew McConaughey is like, that's like the whole theme of the movie. Is like, is this really injustice? Like, and so Matthew like says like he just started screaming, cussing, like all this, and like that's how he got the role, because he could like kind of just unlock that.
That's cool.
And
when I was reading the book I've talked about a few times. It's the Ed Zwick books. His name, it's called Illusion something. I don't remember the title. But he was talking about when he was directing somebody, they weren't bringing out their emotions well enough. He felt like they weren't connecting to the character and they weren't bringing out what they needed. And so he brought him to the side and just started talking to him. Just started chit-chatting with him. And he started talking about his mom, I think it was. Maybe a sister, mom, some type of family member. And he was talking to him, and they started like kind of getting emotional a little bit, talking about their family. He's like, all right, come here. Action. He's like, bring that. Like, keep that action. That's what we need. And he realized, oh, okay, that's the emotion I got to tap into to bring this out.
Yeah. So I think at that point, like, that's what Matthew McConaughey was doing, like, in his career.
Yeah. Because, I mean, if you rise to the top like that, you have to be able to bring out your emotions like that. You can't be the fucking guy that's putting eye drops in your eye to cry.
Yeah.
If you're at the A-list ranks, getting the biggest movie roles, You don't got time to go to the side and fucking put eye drops in. You got to be able to bring it.
But then I also think, like, because he's on set with Christian Bale, who may not be, like, necessarily, like, an A-list actor, but he's definitely well-known.
No, I
Like,
say he's A-list.
Is
Christian
he
Bale
in this movie?
I think so. He's Batman.
Not at this point,
Not
though.
at this point.
Let's look up his. Can you look up his filmography and we can see what he
Well,
did
he
around
done
then?
American Psycho.
Yeah.
And then Batman Begins, I mean, was, like, just a few years after this.
I think if he's hitting those roles where they're all like sequential, big roles in a row, you know he's on the hot list.
All right. But regardless, like, I'm not saying he's, like, not, because he was well-established in Hollywood, because he did, like, child acting.
Yeah, and he's
So he
super
knows
talented.
Right. Like, he's naturally gifted, but, like, he did, you know, like, have acting coaches, all of that, since he was, like, a little kid. So Matthew McConaughey being on set with him, like, I'm sure he learned a lot from him.
What's funny about Christian Bale too is he'll take kind of shitty roles like this, right?
That's what the greats do.
Maybe so. They testing their limits. Can I make this shitty movie good? He's in this. He did the he did a Thor movie. What Marvel movie did he do?
Oh, Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah, he did like Thor: Love and Thunder, which is like
Yeah,
Never
he
saw
was
plays
the bad
like-
guy in
yeah,
that
just
one.
some one-off bad guy that's
The
never gonna be
God
remembered.
Killer.
Yeah, like that's kind of like a shitty character. Like there's nothing cool about his character. Obviously he performs it well, but like it's Thor: Love and Thunder, bro. It's the third Thor movie. He's starring as a villain in the third Thor movie. That's kind of trash.
He's
So-
in Little Women.
Little Women and Pocahontas, the animated Disney movie, are pretty popular, you know?
Yeah.
That was before.
Yeah.
Okay.
But when I say A-list, I mean, like, you're Batman.
But A-list is like you are the top of the celebrity status, and I think he was.
I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention at this point.
Yeah,
He got Little Women, and he was a voice in Pocahontas.
That's kind of big though.
Not Batman.
But he was Batman. That's the thing.
Eventually.
But because of roles like this and them seeing his performance, he was an A-lister.
I think I read that American Psycho kind of helped him.
When did Christian Bale become A-list? Is that a thing? An S-tier actor, above A-list. He's above
What?
A-list. Christian Bale's above A-list.
At this point,
Go up, click that.
Yes.
Can you click that, what that said?
Which one?
Oh, that was it. The Quora. So this says, is Christian Bale an A-list actor on Quora? It says
Yes.
no. Christian Bale is deaf, an S-tier actor, above A-list. He is extremely well-known and extremely talented, having multiple highly rated movies under his belt, 2 of them crossing over $1 billion worldwide. Bale is one of the biggest seat fillers in the industry, up there with Tom Cruise.
why are you looking at me like you just proved a point? I'm trying to. I know he's that level now. I'm saying when he made this movie, I don't know. I'm sure he was like a
I'm sure he was.
popular actor.
I'm sure he was.
Like Matthew McConaughey was definitely like a known celebrity when he was making all those rom-coms. But he didn't become like an A-list actor until, I mean, honestly, like recently. Like probably like 2016.
No.
Yeah, but I feel like whenever we're not around to see pop culture at that time, then we don't really know what
Yeah.
who was like super famous, like who was in magazines or in the tabloids and who people knew the most,
Yeah,
you know? Because I feel like just now, like, I feel like older actors, I don't think of what they were like whenever, like, our parents were
Yeah, like,
reading
who was
magazines.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah, our young asses are talking out of our ass.
Yeah, you
no,
never
at this
know.
point, like, I mean, it was Johnny Depp, Brad Pitt, Leonardo DiCaprio. Like, I'm just, you can actually go back and look at that
I know, but
and just see.
I
like,
think he was. I mean, he's...
You don't live the vibe, though.
yeah, I mean, he did this shitty dragon movie.
But so did McConaughey, and he was on the rise.
He was
wasn't
not A-list. He was not.
Back then,
on
you
a-
don't think?
He was not.
Okay.
No, not at that point. See, he hadn't done all of his rom-coms yet.
Mm.
This was early on.
He claimed to wrestle with bulls. Did he talk about that in Green Lights?
No.
Or wrestled with cows when he was preparing for this?
Oh, I think he actually might have
Did he?
mentioned that. Yeah.
Okay, now, so since we looked at Christian Bale's filmography, can we look at McConaughey's filmography?
Yeah.
Pet
Pivot.
Foxy. Foxy's demanding your attention right now. Because obviously he did Dazed and Confused in what? Is that the 90s or the 80s?
Oh no, that's your movie.
I think 80s.
That's your
but
movie.
let's look.
You love that movie.
I thought you loved that movie.
I've seen that movie once
Oh.
for the podcast.
Oh, really?
I love that movie.
90s, 93. So he did Angels in the Outfield, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, A Time to Kill, and then The Wedding Planner.
The Wedding Planner.
So that's still kind of, he's still a little bit in the rom-com era.
Yeah.
Then Rain of Fire. So he wasn't probably A-list yet, but he was definitely up and coming.
I think How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days was probably the biggest one to like shoot him off.
Yeah.
After.
Yeah. That's interesting though that he did Rain of Fire within the rom-com era.
Well, no, because The Wedding Planner was like the first rom-com, and that was right before Rain of Fire. Like he had probably already accepted.
Oh, really? What? Can we look at the other ones? I thought he did rom-coms mainly in the beginning.
No, because there was.
Okay.
I always wanted to watch Contact.
Who made it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just a movie about aliens.
There's a poster of him sitting with an elephant.
Larger than life. Yeah, but okay, but they may not have been A-list, but they were their skill is still there. They're still pretty talented. So it's funny that they picked this role to play, and it's
I agree. Yes.
their performances are pretty underrated.
Agreed. Like if this movie came out today, this would be a hit.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
everybody would go see this movie.
I don't know about that. I think it probably wouldn't be a hit because people.
Oh, okay.
You don't think it'd be a hit? You think,
I do think it would be. I think a lot of people would go see it. Yeah, because it's Christian Bale, Matthew McConaughey,
Okay.
and
yes.
it's a story about dragons taking over the planet.
Fallout's
That's
a hit.
still a cool concept.
I was
Mhm.
thinking
In
when
the modern like.
Plus, they'd have it looking really good.
Yeah.
They do a good job making this
Yeah.
movie today.
it would be like
Mhm.
$100 million budgeted movie.
Yeah.
The one thing that kind of sucked about this movie, besides the lull towards the end, was the ending. But after the fight, when they killed the dragon, the way they wrap it up, their little like resolution at the end is pretty terrible.
Oh, that they start to get satellites from other.
Well, they put
places.
a satellite up, and then it's like, you know, the young boy rides up that they mentioned one time could have been the leader. He's like, hey, you're the leader now. Even though Christian Bale's fully capable of still being the leader.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought that too, but I feel like that was kind of like a side story. Was like his struggle with the young boy, like kind of being a father figure,
Yeah.
and him like being able to take up the role. I still think it was half-assed.
It's a sweet moment when you look at the whole story. Like, oh, that's nice. He let him be the captain now, like in like in what's that movie?
That's
Captain
nice.
Phillips.
You let him drive the boat.
But when you watch the whole movie, you don't really care about the kid. You kind of forgot about the kid.
Yeah.
But when he pops up again, you're like, oh yeah, I forgot about the
I
kid.
didn't even like the kid.
There you go. See, that's the whole point. It's like, cool.
But
He's
it
a leader
did
now.
add a layer to Quinn's character
Yeah.
because he's not only like a leader of a community, and then he says at the beginning, he was like, it's really easy to square your shoulders when you don't have a kid. But he does kind of have, he doesn't have a kid himself, but he's like this older brother, fatherly figure to
Yeah.
a kid.
Yeah.
So I feel like dropping that at the beginning, and then we find out that he is responsible for like a younger person, it kind of like adds to like his need to protect. And maybe
100%.
like why he's so afraid to like go out and fight it, because he just wants to protect what he has.
And
like,
he also,
make it
I mean,
safe.
if you look back to him as a kid, he couldn't protect his mother.
Yeah.
So that, you know, deep-rooted trauma, he's like, I got to protect people. I couldn't protect my mom. I got to get stronger. I got to be a better leader, this and that. But the boy, he does nothing. You don't see him do anything to earn the status of becoming the leader.
Yeah.
He never sacrificed, really. He didn't do anything courageous. He said he wanted to be an archangel, which is a pretty insane job to want to sign up for.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't do anything. So it's kind of like,
I just
Whatever.
think
It's like a kid wanting to be a superhero.
I think a storyline that like this flopping is why right now we're in like the big day and age of like limited series. Like you have time to break up and like explain more and go into more character depth, or just really more depth with everybody. because a movie like this, it's what, like an hour 40?
Yeah.
And they've completely built this world and they've thrown you in it and they've given you like kind of the backstory on like what's happening and all that. And I don't know, kind of keeps cutting out. But like you don't really get to see.
Hold on, pause. All right, resume.
You just like, you don't get to see like what Christian Bale has had to do already. Like you see him go from being a kid to a grown man who's in charge of like almost 100 kids. It's just him and his like little militia, I guess you'd call it. And like you don't know like the hardships that they've already had to go through. Like, but if you put this in a limited series, like you can do flashbacks with Christian Bale's character, kind of showing like what he's seen like just through the years and like how bad it progressively got, rather than you just put it in an hour 40. Christian Bale just gets the girl at the end.
Yeah, I think this movie has so much potential. When I was watching it, I was thinking about, I kind of wish there was a book or something to dive deeper into this mythology of like, how did this happen? What happened to the world? How did these dragons live? You know, what happened to the world?
Yeah.
I was kind of wishing there was a little bit more to it because it does have so much potential. And that's kind of where the movie flops.
It's just tough to like cram that into a movie. And if you are going to cram it into a movie, it has to be like a 3-hour movie.
Yeah. There's no Dune 2 world building.
Exactly.
But
like,
it does a decent job at it. You can kind of tell, and you can, it does enough to where you know that McConaughey's like an extremely badass character.
Yeah.
It does enough to get you to know, like, killing a dragon is a hard feat, but whenever Van Zandt does it, it's like, damn, that dude's fucking hardcore.
Yeah. A lot of potential. It would be cool to see this like remade as like a limited series one day.
Let's remake it as a limited series, bro. This is our calling. It's our year anniversary, bro.
Get rid of those plot holes.
Let's start writing. Rain of Fire, the limited series.
I think it did a good job at kind of showing what happened before, because in a suitable time frame, them like panning over the Time magazines and the newspapers to show you like all the destruction and stuff, so you still like get a feel for how like worldwide this is, that everywhere, because it wasn't just in Europe. They were like, all the magazines were saying the US and Asia, like literally all around the world is just on fire. So that was a good way to convey that without them outright saying it in dialogue and not taking up time, like panning over all the magazines.
I thought the same thing. It's kind of lazy. Some people would say it's lazy to just like tell you the information, but I think it's better to do that in this movie versus just like having some stupid scene that just kind of tells you what happens.
Yeah.
Just like, here's the information. Like, this is what you got to know before we start this movie.
Yeah.
No, because I think they knew what they were doing, just as far as like, they knew what this movie was going to be. Like, this is just like a cool action movie. It's just badass. It's guys fighting dragons. And I mean, I don't think they expected there to be that much substance, but then I'm a little surprised if that's the case. Like, they did put a lot into it at the beginning with like the explanations of what had happened. And like, I mean, they gave you whole world history and all that. And so
it makes sense that Denton Van Zandt's character, that they're more powerful and that they were actually able to travel over the seas, because if the dragon's rooted in London, it's probably hard that those other dragons are going to, like, not many of them are going to fly across the entire ocean to go to a different continent. Some will, like they did. It said they did. But it's not going to be the majority of them. It's going to be some stragglers that go out and wreak havoc. So the United States can kind of like fortify up, get stronger, prepare, do their research on their few dragons that flew over, and then they can then travel back to the heart of it where there are thousands. We said millions before. I think it's probably thousands of dragons. Like maybe thousands or tens of thousands.
It says millions.
Does it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
I was going to say that. I was thinking that at the beginning whenever I was talking about the magazines, is that, and then whenever we find out that that's kind of its home base, if it really is just flying over and fertilizing, then it's like doing this circle. And then if it stays around England most of the time, I was thinking that too, that other places in the world like Australia or something that's like way on the other side would be way safer.
If
something
you believe
across
in
like
Australia.
in the middle of oceans, you know, where
Now,
it can't.
with this being
touch
taking
down.
place in 2022, and let's think about Quinn probably aged 20 years from the time that he saw the first dragon and he single-handedly woke it up. not really. The miners did, but he was there. So it's like 2000 about. You don't think we could have fighter jets that would take down these dragons? Like, they literally used a fucking arrow that blew up. You're telling me our missiles and guns couldn't just mow them down? We have we're like bombing countries right now. Like, at this point in time, we're bombing.
You're telling me the nukes didn't work?
Yeah. Well, not even the nukes. You don't even need the nukes. You can
but they did, like, they do explain that, like, they dropped nukes. Like,
they said they used their full firepower.
Yeah,
it's like,
you're telling me Matthew McConaughey with an axe and a couple of explosive arrows,
got
like
close.
that did it. I didn't even think about that. That is hilarious.
One explosive arrow when he opens his mouth blew him up. They killed the first one with how did they kill the first one? With the fucking just spear?
Yeah.
A spear on a tank?
Yeah.
So you mean to tell me
The United States military stood no chance against the dragons? Fucking, have you seen the movie Top Gun before? They would get after it on those fucking, that was in the 80s. Top Gun was in the 80s, and they had badass pilots and missiles on these things. They could 1000% kill those dragons. Come on, you had time.
That is that's the biggest plot hole that I've never even thought about before.
Also, they're on a tank. They just missed every shot, and when they ran out of bombs on the tank, what's the that's called? What's the thing on the tank called?
Well, it's just
the missile launcher.
Sorry, it's just funny to think about. Like, they had the helicopter, and they had guys jumping out of the helicopter.
Here, let me pause you real quick. The gun on a tank is called a tank gun.
Now that's America right there. Let's not overdo this shit. Like, let's call it as it is.
All right, sorry, keep going.
No, but I mean, like, you just think about, when they first show up, they're like, yeah, we got helicopters. Like, we do this shit. And their strategy is they get the helicopter, they plant these, like,
beacons. Verticals.
Verticals in the ground. They plant like 3 of them to, I don't know, like, kind of just figure out where the dragon is, or like the location.
It's a 3D scanning technology, so it can scan the area to find the dragon.
It's just, now that you know, like, how the movie ends, and then you think that was the strategy that they were using compared to, like, how they took out the alpha dragon. Like, you had guys jumping out of a helicopter with no parachute whose life expectancy was 17 seconds.
Yeah.
So, and then, like, it's Matthew McConaughey, and he's just like, all right, you're the bait. Like, and then all of a sudden he kills it with a spear. But then you're telling me the whole time they just had to get, like, some explosive bow and arrows and, like, just get up there?
To be fair to the storyline,
just seemed like a lot.
There was only 3 of them, so that was their only option. But still, when there was only 3 of them, and their only option was a crossbow with an explosive tipped arrow, and they won, you're still thinking about the U.S. military. You're like, really?
Yeah, well, then I'm I'm thinking about Christian Bale's character, Quinn Abercrombie, and
badass.
I'm just thinking, like, after he killed the main dragon, like, if I was him, and I just, like, after months and months of just, like, having time to really think about it, I'd be like, holy fuck, like, what a terrible strategy. Like, how many people did you kill? Like, jumping out of those helicopters. Like, you didn't even have, like, missiles on the helicopters. Like, you just had the helicopter.
Did they have no missiles?
I don't think so.
I did not see one, like,
the helicopter was just for the guys to jump out
anything. Like, on helicopters on the side, there's, like, that giant gun.
Yeah.
That's just the automatic. They did not have one of those.
Talking about Fallout, what the knights would use.
All right. True.
This is just like Fallout.
Agreed.
Oh, yeah.
It is. Hell yeah.
Now you don't even have to watch it.
Clearly.
Yeah, Rain of Fire is just like Fallout. You should not even watch it.
Yeah, they're in the bunker. They're hiding,
Yes, you got a point.
Every time they leave, it's dangerous.
Everything's burnt up.
Yep.
All they have to eat is
we're
simple
talking
vegetables.
About Fallout. Of course.
And no, it's easy to get Rain of Fire confused with Fallout.
Yeah, for our audience out there, I've been getting roasted pretty much because I haven't seen Fallout, which I don't even understand. I thought that just came out. Did it not?
Yes, but there's only 8 episodes, and you're unemployed. You have no excuse.
Yeah.
We are not unemployed. And I have 2 jobs now that I think about it. No, but Game of Thrones, I mean, it just takes up a lot of my time.
Oh yeah, a show that you've watched 3 other times.
Everybody that's watched Game of Thrones understands.
Gray's schedule. Wake up, 10 a.m. Work out. Come home. Make a PB&J. Watch Game of Thrones.
Or tuna.
Ew.
All right, or a tuna sandwich. Just tuna or tuna sandwich?
Just tuna out the can.
Okay,
I don't
tuna.
need the bread.
You're hardcore.
I don't even make a
Disgusting.
peanut butter sandwich. I just eat it out the jar.
Wow, you are hardcore. That's
Yeah.
really living low.
Yeah.
No silverware or plate. No preparation for lunch for lunch. No matter what you do.
A lot of water.
A lot of water. Sit down in your bed. Play with Foxy. Watch Game of Thrones. Text the hoes. Go to bed.
Yeah, he's single, ladies. If you want that to be your daytime routine, call. Give him your number, Gray. Put it out there.
Gray's bringing out a new course teaching you how to live his lifestyle.
It ain't bad. What is there to say?
Okay.
I mean, I got to 7 seasons of Game of Thrones in 2 weeks, so I think you're actually doing me a little too much justice.
That's why I won't watch it. I'm afraid of the time commitment.
It's tough.
You've never seen Game of Thrones?
What?
Bro, you have to. I think you have to.
I can't.
Yeah.
It's not that much time commitment. It's only 10 episodes a season.
Bro.
Don't say bro to me.
Don't say it's not that
Scott,
much of a time
you have a
commitment.
civic duty as a lover of media,
Yes.
Media.
of any like screen show or anything. I can't believe you've never seen Game of Thrones.
And you're lucky, like House of the Dragon season 2 is coming out, so
Yeah.
like,
You're at the perfect
I mean,
time.
shit, you'll make it to like season 3 at this point.
You really should watch it.
Okay, thumb down.
Wow. Rude.
Wow.
So I want to talk about how insane it is to be an archangel. Their entire role, their life expectancy is 17 seconds. Their entire role is to ride up into the sky when there's a dragon that they're ready to kill and distract the dragon. Jump out of the helicopter and just like distract the dragon. They're essentially suicide bombers.
Yeah.
And then
Wow.
they all 3 go
They
up.
are. They are.
They all 3 go up and they give their assignments when they're in the air. So when you go up, you don't know if you're going to be on like capture duty or bait duty.
Yeah.
So they just told that guy, "You're the bait." If someone pointed to me and said, "I'm the bait," I'd just jump out right then.
But you know you obviously know they're badasses because of their job. But then there's a scene where you see them on the helicopter. They're kind of talking shit to each other about their life. Like they're kind of like joking about that guy losing his life. The dude that's up there, he's talking about, I forget what he said something to her. He's like, "Oh, you're not worried about my life, or you're worried about this?" He's like, "No, I'm worried about my helicopter." Like, I don't care about you. I'm worried about my helicopter. They're like, "Oh, you motherfucker."
Now
They're
that's
laughing.
American.
Right. So you know these guys are badass when they're just straight up joking about their lives, knowing that they're gonna die. Because I mean, you're jumping out of a plane into the sky with a fucking dragon on you. Life expectancy 17 seconds.
Yeah, and then you think, I mean, it wasn't even 17 seconds of them like being in the air. Like the 17 seconds is mainly because you're just gonna get eaten by that dragon in the middle of the air.
Yeah, that's what it is.
awesome.
And also, you don't pull your chute until you know the dragon's been killed. So you're either gonna
Or it's been
pull it late or just plummet to the ground, which one guy did.
Yeah, into the side of that cliff.
I fucked with it.
They were wearing the
No,
like
it-
flying squirrel suits too.
Yeah.
That's how they were like, changing their speed going down, because they were like phew, when they were trying to find it, and then they would open up their arms and legs to like slow them down when they
Yeah.
were trying to see where it was at.
If you were to do that, you can't really think about the outcome. You only can think about like the mission. Like, let me just distract the dragon. Okay,
America.
now, oh fuck, I gotta save myself. Like that's you can't think about how you're gonna save yourself. You only have to keep it priority of like, I gotta distract the dragon. Which is such a crazy mindset to be in. But I guess it's the end of the world, so like you gotta step up, and it's like there's really no option.
Yeah, I feel like it's almost like what's that part of the military, those guys that they just train and they're just like, they're not like killers, but they're killers of the enemy. So it's like whenever they get a mission, they're just like, they just want.
They're not killers, but they're killers of
But
the
you
enemy.
know what I mean? Like not like bad guy killers, but they're like,
Navy SEALs?
I don't know.
Marines?
I can't remember. It's
Special
like what you're
forces?
talking about. Yeah, I guess. Like,
Parajumpers?
Some of the guys are just built different.
yeah, it's like that's what they live for, even if they know that they're not gonna come back. They just want that mission.
Because I mean, doing that, you have a purpose in life. Your purpose is to do this job. If you like commit to it, you could like make that your purpose in life. So like doing it fulfills you. Because if you've had like a shitty life or whatever the case, it's hard. Or you just commit yourself to this job, then your purpose in life is to do this job. And if it risks your life, you're okay with it because that's still your purpose. So I guess you're tied to it. So it's like you're proud to risk it. Because like you've essentially bored your life down to this moment right here because you're proud to do it because you know it's going to serve a higher purpose, which I guess is the mindset you have to get into if you're going to be a fucking archangel.
Yeah.
But I feel like being the pilot would be the scariest job. I guess jumping out of the plane is obviously scary, but still being a pilot up there, like you do have a chopper, but we said there's no weapons on it.
Yeah, you
honestly,
get shot
you
down
you see the helicopter. There's no guns on the helicopter.
Mm-mm.
You're just having to dodge a dragon.
Crazy. Now, okay, so obviously the dragons eat ash, right? That was
they somehow
they live off ash.
Survive off of it.
So the last scene, we don't know how much time has passed, but when you see the wide shots of the landscape when they're putting that satellite up to try to find anybody who's alive, it looks pretty fucking green.
Yeah, they said in 3 months. They hadn't seen one in 3 months.
Okay, there it is, 3 months.
Yeah.
So does vegetation grow back that fast in 3 months? Like the entire mountainscape was green. It's like the dragons would then burn it and eat the ash. Because you can only eat ash from living things because it'll burn. So it's like, bro.
Yeah, but when like forest fires happen and stuff, like that's how it just restarts.
But wouldn't it be
everything.
like a year? Like a year of growth? Like think about a plant.
I don't know. Yeah, a plant like doesn't take 3 months to sprout up.
Weeks.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Yeah,
Also,
like a little bud of grass sprouting up in the ground.
Wait.
What is this?
This one says weeks. This one says more than 100 years.
No.
Okay, large trees is the 100 years.
Yeah. Like I'm saying, like probably 100 years for like a full forest to grow back. But
well, and we didn't get like a timeline at the end of like how long it had been since they had killed the dragon.
But the dragons died off in 3 months.
No, but they had just said like it's been 3 months now. Like it could be like 2 years after that. Now it's been like 3 months in a row. Like, they didn't really explain it that well.
I was noticing her hair.
Plothole.
Because when they killed the dragon, she had bangs, and then in that
Christian Bale had long hair too.
in that next scene,
Yeah.
her hair had grown out. I mean, her bangs were like at cheekbone length. And fun fact, our hair grows on average a half an inch a month. So
There we go.
that's what I was going off
Okay.
of. And she had like 2 or 3 inches of new
So I guess
growth.
if stuff grows in weeks, it makes sense that there's vegetation again.
Yeah. At least grass. That grass had grown back.
What was y'all's? All right, Scott, you being the first one and never seeing it. You're the only one that hasn't seen it the first time. What did you think about when McConaughey jumped off and just got eaten by a fucking dragon?
I think that was my favorite shot.
Yeah, it is the best shot in the movie.
Did you think? Because when I first saw it, I'm like, wait, what? He just got eaten by the dragon? Because it's set up so much. He misses.
That he's about to just dome this dragon with an axe.
I was like, no. Well, when I was watching it, honestly, when I was watching it, I'm like, no way. No way does he fucking... This movie's about to be the most badass movie I've ever seen if he just axes this dragon in midair and then whoosh, chomped. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I think I kind of knew he wasn't going to make it and that he's just doing that because that's like his whole purpose.
Yeah.
Well, he was dead regardless. He's at the top of a tower.
Yeah.
He jumps off. He's like, this is it.
Yeah, like that dragon's just going to like blow him off the mountain. So like you may as well just go off on your terms.
It is cool, though, because his character is always all in to the mission. And you see him always... Like, the dragon flies to him in another scene, and he has this little shotgun. He's like, ah! Shooting a shotgun at the dragon.
Mm-hmm.
So when you see him again, his character, all in still. Misses the first shot. He's like, fuck it. Here we go. And you see it in his eyes. The reason why I was kind of thrown off from the first time seeing it is because you see in his eyes, he believes that he's about to kill the dragon. He's like, all right, and jumps off, and you kind of think, because of the way he looks, you're like, oh, shit, is he actually going to kill the dragon? Obviously, he doesn't. But that shot just fucking wide shot, sky up of him reaching out. Eat. Like, damn. That sucks.
For a split second, I thought he was just like gonna just go into the dragon's mouth and then just start killing it from the inside out.
Yeah.
Just start chopping it.
You see him like just through the belly, just chopping out through the belly. That'd been crazy.
Yeah, I thought maybe he'd walk out of the dragon's mouth after it fell.
Yeah. With this cigar still in his mouth.
Yeah.
Holding it up. That's the best. When that scene whenever they're celebrating after they killed the first dragon and he walks out with a cigar and he just puts in the air. Everybody stays silent. You're like, damn, they respect him a lot. Yeah. Just pointing his cigar in the air.
But that's one of the cool things about movies is like shots like that where he just something cool as fuck.
Yeah, that was cool as fuck. Cool as fuck, and then you're like, damn, he died. But Rain of Fire, one of my favorite movies to watch. It's not very good, but it's my guilty pleasure.
Okay. Yeah, there's respect
and you
in
can
that.
have that.
Yeah, that makes so much sense.
We all have those movies. Roadhouse.
Yeah, your guilty pleasure is Roadhouse.
I love
What would be your
Roadhouse.
guilty pleasure movie? This is my guilty pleasure. When I say like Rain of Fire is one of my favorite movies, people are like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, watch it again. Trust me.
I don't really know like what my guilty pleasure movie is.
Like, what's a movie you know that sucks, but you love to watch it?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not really into like watching, but yeah, I also just don't think this movie sucks. I just think it's.
Yeah,
I think it's
just not great.
It's just nice that like you don't really, like you can fall asleep in this movie, and come back and watch the ending and be like, oh yeah, like I saw that one coming.
Which is funny because when Gray first watched the movie, he watched it in my room at the fraternity house, and he fell asleep probably during the boring part and woke up at the last scene.
Yeah,
and you talk to me like that. When we talk about the movie, it's not like you fell asleep. Like we talk about the same scenes.
Yeah.
You saw everything you needed to see.
Yeah.
Scott, what's your guilty pleasure movie?
I can't think of a guilty pleasure, but more of like a comfort movie is Palm Springs. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I've seen that. That's a good one.
I've seen it like 4 times.
I like Hot Summer Nights. I think that's.
I've never seen that. What is that?
It's a Timothée Chalamet movie, and he plays like a drug dealer, and like he like just goes from like selling weed on the beach to like trying to sell like a lot of cocaine, and he like just gets wrapped into like the wrong people. But he only started to become a drug dealer to like kind of fit in with like kind of the cooler crowd of like the people that. Yeah, so it's a good movie. It's well shot. Like acting's good. Like,
did y'all watch Wonka with Timothée Chalamet? You watched it?
We couldn't make it through it.
Dude, we couldn't finish. Me and Mercedes watched it. We couldn't finish it.
It was like
It's
cringing me out.
It's because Willy Wonka is a silly character, and so the actors that have played him before were silly actors that you believe. Johnny Depp. What's the other guy's name?
the OG one.
Yeah.
He's a famous actor.
Super
it's
famous. Gene Wilder.
Gene Wilder. Those are both like very wild type of actors. Them playing Wonka being an eccentric kind of character is realistic. Timothée Chalamet is not eccentric at all. Like, you don't see him as that. He just played Paul Atreides, the most powerful fucking guy that's like a badass, a king.
Yeah, like I've only really ever seen like him play serious roles, except for that End of the World movie.
Don't Look Up.
Yeah, Don't Look Up.
Exactly. So you see him in Wonka, and he's playing this like silly kind of like weird magician type of character. You're like, that's not fucking Timothée Chalamet. Like, that's weird.
He didn't do well,
He doesn't pull it off.
in your opinion?
I just don't, and I just didn't really like the overall feel of the movie. Like, it was kind of just like, I don't know. I couldn't get into it. We had to turn it off.
It's just not. It's not believable because we know that Timothée Chalamet is not a silly not a silly person, and so him trying to play a silly role doesn't make sense.
Trying to challenge himself.
I agree. Like he's a it's probably the producers really that were wanting him to be on it because he's a big name, trying to milk the money.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure they did. I'm sure they still made money, like a ton of money off.
Yeah,
of
but
it.
you also have to think like.
And Timothée Chalamet made a fuck ton of money off that movie, probably.
Yeah, but
Timothée Chalamet.
But I think like maybe even when Johnny Depp like did his Willy Wonka character, like I don't know if it was received well at the beginning.
Ooh, Johnny Depp?
I'm not exactly sure, but like
yeah, I remember being a little
because it was a totally it was a totally different character than like Gene Wilder. And so,
but
like,
he's still, when you watch it now, Johnny Depp is still an eccentric kind of guy.
Yes,
so.
but Wonka's made for kids. It's like, this is kind of their like first impression on Wonka. So like maybe in 10 years they'll be like, oh, dude, like Timothée Chalamet was like.
That's another thing, like, and it was also a musical, which was different than the ones before.
No,
like there was
music in the other ones.
There was some music, but not full on like solos from him. Like the entire
Oompa Loompa
thing was a musical. There were multiple musical numbers.
Oompa Loompa song.
And he was still like whimsical and like kind to like the people around him. Cause like the whole thing is that he wants to be a chocolatier. And so he like moves in and tries to get like a shop in this town, but it's dominated by other like really uppity chocolatiers. And so his is like more plays to the children, which is like what candy is for, and it's more whimsical and it does fun stuff. It makes you float and stuff. So I think maybe like for what they were going for, he maybe would have done a good job. Like we said, we didn't finish it, but
I just think it's hard for kind of our time to like receive it as well, because we've already had two interpretations in the movie. And so now when you're like kind of going into a prequel in it,
you're judging it heavy
with an actor that has been well established like in our culture, like throughout the years. And like, we know him as like playing, like you said, like just very serious roles. Like you've never really seen him like act silly. So it's kind of just weird seeing him like pivot into playing that kind of a character. And I think it might catch you off guard. And then like, obviously just the way that the story's told, like it can just throw you off. Because when you're doing a movie like that, I don't know who the director is, but it doesn't matter. Like when you're taking a movie that's already been so well established, you're going to want to make it look your way and not similar to how it's already been portrayed.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's why it doesn't surprise me that like it probably threw a lot of people off.
From watching the trailer, it kind of gave me Harry Potter vibes, just like the style of filmmaking. Which
I agree.
Yeah. It's like still London. What do you mean? It's still like London, and it's kind of like dreary, and the colors are kind of similar to Harry Potter, like a little muted.
The inventions.
It's just like cartoonish.
Yeah. And he has like that corner shop, and when we were watching it, it made me think of Fred and the other twin brother. I can't think. You know who I'm talking about.
George and Freddie.
Yeah,
Georgie and Freddie. Yeah.
Their comic.
What is that?
Harry Potter.
From Harry Potter.
It's Ron Weasley's twin brothers.
Okay.
Oh, right. Okay.
You know how they have that comedy shop on
the...
So it's kind of like that. I think if you put that frame next to his chocolate shop that he opens up, it's like very similar. So I would agree with that, Scott.
All right. Mercedes, final thoughts on Rain of Fire.
I'm sure I'll watch it a million more times in my life.
Gray, final thoughts on Rain of Fire.
I'm marrying him.
You better somewhat enjoy it. Good. I think I kind of disagree with Scott. I think it's a little too ahead of its time. I think this could be recreated, expanded upon, and it could be done a lot better.
Scott, final thoughts on Rain of Fire.
It's just like Fallout.
I think Rain of Fire is an underrated movie. Gets a lot of hate by people that have seen it. They're like, dude, Rain of Fire, that movie sucks. But when you watch McConaughey's acting, and you watch Christian Bale's acting, and you see the scenes of how badass they are, and you see the dragon fighting, you're like, dude, this movie is insane.
What's not to love?
What's not to love?
Minus the dragon fighting, that's almost word for word my vouching speech for Roadhouse. Every time I defend it to the grave.
All right. But Rain of Fire, one of my favorites. I'm really glad that Gray picked it out for our 1 year anniversary. It's been 1 year, and we got many more coming, many more episodes on the Crown Cinema Podcast. Gentlemen, Miss, you're a miss now by the time this episode airs.
Whoa.
Let's cheers our glasses, even though they're empty.
Cheers.
Cheers, and thank you for watching. Comment below your thoughts on Rain of Fire if you have seen it. Leave us a like if you enjoyed the episode and stayed this far. And that's it. We're out.
Well, I've been working like a dog trying to buy my next meal. Seems all I do is drive. And when the boss man sends my next check,